What's up, everybody? Eric here, Driveline World's OK steering wheel holder. We're not going to do any big, try to do any extravagant intro or anything. I've got a convenient opportunity to do a video because of a pretty extreme inconvenience. I've run into it. I'm going to talk about solar eclipse here in a minute. But I've run into a first for me. 5 years of driving a truck for a mega carrier with lots of dropping hooks. And I had an appointment at 1300 today. So I showed up at, let's see, it would have been 11:30. So an hour and a half with no expectation that the load would be ready. Of course, I hoped that it would be ready, but the appointment's not to 1300. So I figured, because of where this is, which is a horrible city for parking, horrible. I figured because of where it is, I would come get rid of this empty trailer, and if I had to bobtail out, fine, you know, I could figure that out. Or just sit there bobtail if they allowed it until the load's ready. Common sense, right? There's no special instructions or anything like that to suggest that that's not what you do. And for Prime especially, if we're a drop-in hook, the customer is generally not ever going to complain even if you show up 24 hours with an empty trailer. Generally. I've certainly never had any problem being an hour and a half, but so I was an hour and a half early, and boy, they just this dude at the guard shack was just like, don't even try to talk me into it. Like, it's not going to happen. And I wasn't even being argumentative. I was just like, well, can't I at least just I can put the empty right there. You got like 15 empty trailer spots right there next to the guard shack. Can't I just put the empty there and I'll come back whatever time you want? Nope, don't. He's like, don't ask a second time. It's not going to happen. And he said, in fact, don't come back until at least 15 minutes after 1300. So, you know, here I am scrambling and trying to figure out, in the middle of the day where traffic is just a nightmare and there's nowhere to park. The best case scenario that I could come up with was to go 7 miles up the interstate, do a U-turn, or go across at the exit, come back, and there is a little tiny rest area pointed in that direction. But even this little tiny rest area has got a lot of trucks in it, so now I'm just kind of parked on I just made a spot. If it fits, that's where it sits. So I just made a spot. But how damn frustrating, because now the appointment's only an hour away, or an hour from now, and I just had to bring this empty trailer with me to find a place to sit. Like, that is the most bizarre. There was this other Prime truck pulling in as I'm coming out of the guard shack, and he's like, driver lineup. And I was like, well, it's drive line now. And he goes, yeah, I know, but it's good seeing you. And I was like, well, I'm glad you got a smile on your face because you're going to need a good spirit. And he said, why? What's up? And I was like, they're not going to let you. I said, I'm the first appointment. 1300 is their first Prime appointment. So I knew he was after me because the guard told me that. I was like, they ain't going to let you drop your empty. He was like, what? I said, yeah, man. They ain't going to let you drop it. And it was a team truck. There were two people in there, and the look on his face was like, WTF. So I'm just sitting here twiddling my thumbs. My clock is way down. I already drove 300 and something miles this morning to get here, and of course, now that the guard wants me to be back there at 13:15, I can't stop my clock because I won't be sitting here for 2 hours. This is the shit right here, man, that just really, there's such high expectations that we follow everything to a T with the DOT regulations, with shippers and receivers, constantly threading needles, and have to deal with this kind of. Anyway, so total solar eclipse. This has been, I've been on some group conversations, audio calls in the last couple nights, and it has been a hoot. Conspiracy conversation would be a gross understatement of some of the conversations I've been a part of in these calls. I was on a group call last night, and I think there were probably 50 people on this, and truck drivers, and boy, I heard it all. Some of it I was like, okay, that's plausible, but some of it I'm just like, wow. And look, I'm not trying to like make fun of anybody for believing what you believe, thinking what you think might happen, but just to give you an example of how wild it was, there were quite a few people in there that fully believed that CERN or CERN, whatever it is, they're colliding these particles together to try to find dark matter or something like that. I think in Switzerland or Austria or somewhere. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly where. But they believe that because they're going to be running this machine, this collider, on Monday the 8th, which coincides with this epic total solar eclipse, that there's going to be some portal to a spiritual dimension open up, and demons are coming through this portal. Like, wow. I mean, look, I believe in God. I have my own unique beliefs. Like, for example, I'm a creationist, but I also believe that I believe you can believe in the Big Bang Theory and creationism at the same time. They're not mutually exclusive. I believe you can believe in both of them at the same time. You can believe in intelligent design, but also believe in the Big Bang Theory. But I can't come to full grips with going to that level. I don't know. Who knows? What I do know is that because my home is in the path, that traffic chaos is starting to unfold right now. So I do know that there's going to be millions and millions of people in parts of the country that aren't suited to have those millions and millions of people in them. I think there's just so much conspiracy, man. I was listening to this for like 4 hours of just the gambit of all the things that people think, could there be a false flag, or there were people saying they're gonna fly planes over with biological weapons, and just, man, you name it. I heard it all in this call. And I don't know about all that shit. Now, I don't trust the government for shit. I don't trust a damn thing anybody in the federal government says. Nothing. I think pretty much every member of Congress should, is as corrupt as it gets. And so I'm not trying to sit here saying that government isn't up to nefarious things. But, and they were so specific about it too. It's like there's going to be 3 aircraft that takes off from 3 close locations and then flies along this path, and they consecutively drop chemicals. And I'm just sitting here trying to think through even the logistics of this. I was getting a call there, but even the logistics of this, like, how how can 3 airplanes carry enough chemical to drop along this whole just the whole thing? And you know, one of them has to be at 10,000 feet and one of them has to be at 26,000 feet and the other one's going to be at 32,000 feet, and they all work in unison, and each chemical, like, where are you even getting this stuff? Wild, man, wild. Now, what I do think, though, I do think there's a recipe for disaster potentially brewing for Monday. And I think that a lot because of the media hype. There's just been so much hype around this, where you're getting places with, you know, 5,000-6,000 residents who all of a sudden are going to have 50,000 people in their town. Well, if something goes sideways in a town like that with that many people, I mean, there's just no way to control the chaos that could erupt from that. You know what I mean? I think that's probably why all these states are declaring a national emergency. That would be my best guess as to why they're doing that, because even if you take a bigger city, let's say a city of 50,000 people, and all of a sudden it's going to have 250,000 people lining its shoulders on its highways and shopping in its stores and cramming up its RV parks and hotels, it wouldn't take a whole lot to go sideways for that to become an unmanageable scenario. Like, really, anything. I'm talking about things as innocent as a massive fire breaking out or something like that. You know what I mean? Your normal way of dealing with emergency or crisis, kind of, you can't deal with it that way. So that's kind of, I think, the extent of where I think there could be problems, but it's just wild to me, some of the extremes. I would love to know from some of you guys, am I crazy for thinking some of this stuff is absolutely crazy? Or, do you really think there's something super crazy potentially going to happen on Monday? I don't know, man. I don't know. I just thought it was just wild. Like, it's just been heavy on my mind, because when you're listening to a conversation like this and there's so many people that are jumping in and being like, oh yeah, I agree, that totally makes sense. Like, when they smash these particles together, it's going to rip open a portal and it's going to surprise all of us and we're not going to know what hit us. And I'm just like, but it's not just one, it wasn't just one person saying this. It was like, okay, well, if we took this room of, say, 40 people and 10 of them are just full bore believing something like this is going to happen, and that's 25%. Granted, that's a very small sample size, but do that many people really think that something that extreme is going to happen Monday? Maybe. But I think it's going to suck for trucking. Oh, man. If you have a load that's delivering along that path on Monday, I feel for you. I feel for you. I'm going to be set up. I'm not going to have to deal with it. I'm getting nice and set up right now so that I'm not going to have to deal with that. But if you've got to deliver somewhere in that path on Monday, I don't think it's going to be fun being out on the roads at all. I think it's going to be an absolute nightmare. So, but anyway, those are my thoughts. Someone had texted me a few days ago and said, do you think anything bad's going to happen? And I didn't really know how to respond. I was like, kind of, what bad in the sense of what, you know? And then I was in that, and then it's been the last couple nights where I've been listening to some of this conspiracy stuff, but last night was just over the top, man. Where I was like, okay, I gotta ask my viewers I gotta ask about this, because it's wild. So anyway, that's that quick update. I'm not even going to do any editing. I'll just throw this up real quick while I'm sitting here, just to try to kill some time, and hopefully that load's ready, because man, I'm going to be so screwed. Just hope that load's ready. Y'all know how it feels. It's the name of the game. Be safe, make good decisions, always drive to thrive. Talk to y'all soon.